There's a lot going on in the macro landscape. Today, we're going to be talking about the rising dollar. I'm sure you've heard that all throughout the news. Today, we're going to go over what that means for the stock market and, more importantly, what sectors tend to do very well when the dollar actually peaks. I think you're going to like this one. Let's get into it. All right, so this is our latest blog post that came out. It's Macro Insights. And look, there is no bigger macro topic than the dollar right now. So listen, the dollar index is up 28% since May 2021, and that is very large because the average gain in the dollar, like when you have these rising dollar regimes, is about 24%. So 28 is definitely epic whenever you look at history. Now, you might be wondering, why is the dollar rising so much? Well, the number one reason is because the Fed continues to hike rates, right? Now, we know that there's a lot of inflation in the system right now. The Fed is trying to cool the economy down, so they are hiking rates as fast as they possibly can, and that makes the US dollar very attractive, especially compared to, lower yielding foreign currencies. The other reason is you've got stronger US growth. We know that China is dealing with lockdowns. We know that there is a war in Ukraine. So if you look, internationally at Europe, you look at Asia, the US might be the best place to be right now. And then the third reason is there is a flight to quality, right? When you're worried about recessions, you're worried about fears, people tend to flock into safe haven assets, and the US dollar would rank as one of those. So now you might be wondering, well, how does a dollar impact stocks? How does a strong dollar impact stocks? Well, the number one thing is that there's a revenue risk. So get this, 40% of S&P 500 companies get their dollars overseas, their revenues overseas. Now, whenever you've got a stronger dollar, when you convert those international dollars back to the US, it's less dollars. So there's definitely, a risk to revenue growth with a rising dollar. Also, there's earnings risk. So Alec found that for every 10% gain in the dollar, it actually shaves 1% from the S&P 500 EPS growth. All right. So basically, if the USD rally persists, at this rate, it would cut 2023's estimated 7% S&P EPS growth to roughly 4.5%. It's a big deal. There's also performance risk, right? We're going to look at that chart. But basically, as the dollar rallies, you can expect stocks to actually fall. And then finally, the biggest sector with the most international exposure is tech. So check out this chart, super cool. Basically, stocks will rally when the dollar starts to fall. And so you've got the dollar here in this green line, and then you've got the market here. That's the blue line. And as you can see over here, that once that dollar starts to fall, stocks do start to climb. So if we do get to a period where we believe that the dollar is going to be falling, is going to be coming under pressure, you can expect that there's going to be a risk on rally for stocks. Let's hope that that is around the corner. So now you might be wondering, well, how do I play a rising dollar? Well, listen, here's a cool fact. Whenever the dollar peaks, the S&P 500 usually gains about 10.3% 12 months after. So it's very important to follow when the dollar peaks. Now, check this out. Now you can look at what sectors tend to perform well after the dollar peaks. So going back to 1960 to 2022, right? It's a lot of years, okay? The discretionary sector tends to rally 22% a year later after the dollar peaks. Financials, nearly 21% gains 12 months after the dollar peaks. Healthcare, almost 17% gains. If you look across the board, everything is up, on average 12 months later. Energy definitely is one of the weaker, and so is utilities and communications. So very interesting to understand where the sector strength and weakness is probably going to be whenever the market starts to ultimately have a weaker dollar. So let's wrap it up. So there you have it. A rising dollar does hurt stocks, but the good news is once the dollar peaks, you should expect markets to actually start to lift. And maybe that'll happen in the coming months, but definitely keep your eyes out for whenever the dollar does start to pull back. And the three sectors that you want to keep an eye on that tend to do the best 12 months after a dollar rallies is going to be discretionary, financials, and healthcare. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoyed this. Always remember, none of this is personalized advice of any kind. Make sure you do your own research. We just want to make you guys better investors. I will see you next time.